I what's up, y'all? So this LA Jordan here. Well, actually, really, this ain't even like a podcast for real. This really more like a random thought. But then again, it might turn into a podcast depending on how long I talk. Because y'all know sometimes I get real long winded. Boom. Anyway, so I was just on Facebook. So I was just on Facebook, like kind of go so and give some stuff off my chest, a little pinch. And oh, I said, Lord. I said something. Oh yeah, I was talking about relationships, right? And I was like, so sick and tired of whatever, whatever. And then so I started saying like there was then one of my friends on Facebook had said something to me about like, I would love a woman to help me out, just like, I would love a woman to help me in my life, help build, build something in life, stuff like that. And start going off and on this just thinking, right? Like you gotta be careful helping a man, right? And I'm not saying it to be mean, just hear me out, right? Okay, boom, we back in, we tapped in. Okay. So yeah. Oh, hold on. Y'all gotta excuse this camera quality. I do not know why it's doing this. Like as soon as I started doing podcasts on this camera, all of a sudden the camera quality just went girl bad. Anyway, I was on Facebook, right? So I was talking and I was just like, man, you know, I was like, yeah, I used to, like, you got to be careful helping a man, whatever, whatever. And then I started talking about like how I used to see relationships, right? And so I used to see relationships where it would be like my dream relationship has always been um me and my man, like we meet in college or high school or something, just cross paths one day. We start working together, building together, building a legacy, building a business, building a brand, building a name, building we creating a life for ourselves, but we building it together, right? So like we go from nothing to something together, right? And if you've ever heard any of my podcasts, like probably like in the last year, not the last year, but maybe like a year or so, about 2 years ago, I used to talk about how I never really dated rich men, and I tried to stay away from rich men for a reason, right? But a part of that reasoning that I never talked about was that my ideal relationship, that was ingrained in my fantasies of what I wanted, was always to grow and build with a man to become better. I mean, just be we build each other up in life. You know what I mean? There was always the fantasy relationship that I wanted. And you notice how I said there was the ideal relationship, and then I changed my words to there was the fantasy relationship. Okay, I say that because like I feel like a lot of us really get caught up in the fantasy. Like over the last maybe year or so, y'all would have heard me say something like love is a choice. Like I'm starting to change the things that I say, right? So like I say like love is a choice, right? Instead of saying, like you have to love this, you have to love this person, you have to you not right if you don't love this, because truth be told, you can love her album. That don't mean I got to love it. I don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? So love is a choice. Love is a choice because love is a test of your energy, it's a test of your spirit, it's a test of your battery, your lifespan with your battery. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what your love is attached to. You spend it on who you want to spend it on, right? But what I realized was that with love being a choice, so is that fantasy relationship that we all grew up with, right? You know how we often talk about how these single parent homes have these effect on the children, right? And their decisions in their relationships. Okay, well, and then we often talked about how we don't see a lot of like black families in the media anymore, happy ones. We see a lot of reality TV relationships, a lot of entertaining relationships, but we don't see positive ones in the media anymore. And we say that, right? But we do we ever really talk about the fantasy we feed ourselves? Right? Because hear me out. Okay. We all love differently. So we all have that ideal relationship that we've always aspired to have, right? Some people's is like Barack and Michelle, right? That may be their fantasy relationship. My fantasy relationship may be Gomez and Morticia. You know, or somebody else's fantasy relationship may be like the ones they see on Lifetime, or somebody else's fantasy relationship may be like Love and Basketball or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Or it could be they auntie and uncle that they grew up with. But the fantasy, nothing kills a fantasy like reality, right? And I realized, like, as I was talking on Facebook, I was like, I never really had a type. And I said, wait a minute, yes, I did. Because I was like, this is the type of relationship that I've always aspired to have, which means I'm always looking for this type of man, which means I'm always trying to achieve this type of life, which means I'm always looking forward to this type of thing without even realizing that I'm doing it. I might be dating different types of men, but it's a commonality amongst them all. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a commonality amongst them all, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but those commonalities I realized were things that I had indoctrinated in myself, either coming from the environment where it's like how to be a lady, how to treat a man, what to do. You know what I'm saying? Those indoctrinations. And then my own personal fantasy, fanatical indoctrinations of like the type of relationships that I want. But it even goes into friendships and business stuff and, stuff like that too. Because, relationships are relationships, right? But on some real stuff though, you know, I was speaking on I was speaking on strong women earlier. The guy and I, we were talking about strong women. He was like, "Yeah, I love strong women, whatever, whatever." But I was like, "Bro, and I didn't say it like that to him, but this how I'm talking now. But I was like, "Wait a minute," and I started thinking about because people say that I'm a very strong woman, I'm very independent. The thing is that there are pros and cons to every type of person. Strong women, we have pros and cons, but you know why am I so strong? Then I started talking about the vulnerabilities of being a strong, independent woman, right? I mean, not the vulnerabilities, but well, yeah, vulnerabilities, the cons, right? And one of those cons is us, we don't really like to be vulnerable. You know what I mean? And it's not necessarily that we don't like to be vulnerable, it's just that not being vulnerable may be a traumatic response. You understand what I'm saying? It may be a traumatic response to something that I've been through before. Right. So I don't have to be vulnerable anymore, right? Anyway, so I was talking about, like vulnerabilities and stuff like that, right? And then when I was talking about it, I started thinking about the types of men that I've dated. Now, I've dated really, really good men, don't get me wrong. I've dated good men, I have. But I had to stop and think, like, you know, in most of my relationships, the ones that lasted a long time, and I mean, like, when I say a long time, I mean they were really healthy relationships. I was able to be that strong woman, right? But where it gets tricky in being a strong woman is that you can easily go from his girlfriend to his mother real quick. Commonalities amongst men that I've dated, mama's boys, right? You ever have like that uncle and auntie, right? Where it's like it's like that uncle, right? He real chill, real laid back, like cool, or he might be a wimpy type of guy, or so you think, right? And his wife is like she a tyrant. She just she's strong. She strong, she stern, whatever she say goes, whatever, right? Like that type of woman. And a lot of times we'll look at that man, we be like, man, he's so weak, he's so weak. But truth be told, he like, nah, she's strong, she got it, she good, you know. And so a lot of times she'll tell him, hey, jump, he'll say how high. And we think he being weak. The truth is, nah, she just strong. He like, I ain't gotta worry about her. She love me, I love her. They taking care of me. You know what I mean? So on the outside looking in, she's a real dominating type personality, right? And a lot of misogynists look at that as weak. But the truth be told, it's like, nah, she got it. She got it. She know what she doing. You know. I just show up and do my part. That's it. You know. But a lot of times men like that are mama's boys. And something of, and this goes back to the fantasy, right? When I was saying like I wanted a man I could build with. The man that I want is a man that's a 50-50 type guy. Not we 50-50 because we what he putting in, I'm putting in too. What he putting in, I'm putting in too because I want, we trying to have a good life, right? So, you carrying bricks, I'm getting bricks too. You hunting, I'm hunting too. You know what I'm saying? You cooking tonight, I cook tomorrow. You know what I mean? So this type of relationship I want. But I'm very but in most of my relationships, well, not most of them, but a few of them, I've been the strong woman, so I'm more dominant, right? In a lot of them, seemingly so, seemingly so. So with that being said, the reality is not lining up with the fantasy. So of course I'm having trouble in paradise because what I'm working for is the fantasy, but the reality is I'm not that type of woman. And if I am gonna be, and if this is what I want, then I gotta fix this. You know what I'm saying? And it just made me realize, like, maybe a lot of us are not in healthy relationships because even though we say we want this Claire Huxtable, um, Bill Huxtable relationship, the Cosby, you know, the Cosby Show, right? We say we want this relationship, but are you even that woman? Are you even that man? Are you aspiring to a relationship that don't even work with you, who you are? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? And then sometimes that allows you to put pressures on your mate, male or female, and you trying to get them to do stuff that they can't do, they don't want to do, or it's not working. And you trying to figure out why it's not working. We're like, this is the perfect idea, you the perfect person for the job. Da, da, da. Maybe skill wise, they the perfect person for the job. They good on paper, but is this their personality? Right? I'm the dominant one in a relationship. Well, I used to be, right? And I still probably am, honestly. But the 50-50 relationship, you know what I mean? If I remain the person that I am, the dominant woman, and I'm working toward this 50-50 relationship, I have to have a dominant man too. Maybe, I think. But even still we both have to adjust to make it work. But yeah, it just made me think about all the stuff that was indoctrinated in me, you know, and it just made me think like, am I even that person? Cause I'm not this soft little dainty Barbie doll girl. I'm not her. Mm-mm. I got an attitude, and I don't mean like I'm a bad person, but now I got an attitude. That's how I am. I'm not. I'm not. I don't have a soft attitude. I got a very pungent attitude. That's who I am. You know what I mean? So and it was, and it goes against what was indoctrinated in me. You know, the fantasy relationship that I wanted versus the person that I really am don't mix. You know what I mean? The type of guys that I've dated are those the type of guys that I need in order to build what I need to have in my life. Indoctrination, fantasy versus reality. Conversations we all need to have with ourselves. All right, I'm finna go because I done talked too long. Bye, y'all.